If you gave me the choice of dying on Earth from a dumb virus because people refuse to stay at home, or dying in space on a mission to Mars, I'm going to choose mission to Mars every single time.
Red rocks! Yay, yay.
What's good, Internet? My name is Attackslug. This is Tharsis on the Nintendo Switch, out now for a price of $12. As always, full disclosure, this game provided by the publisher. Tharsis is a game of dice and death. Let's get into it here and explain as we move along and choose our crew. I have unlocked one additional crew here on this bottom row, so I don't want the specialist. I will take the pilot. Very important. You can randomize it. You have 3 difficulties: easy, normal, and hard. Even easy is pretty hard. We're going to go normal. I've beaten it on easy. I have not beaten it on normal.
We had prepared for any disaster, for every disaster. Not all of them at once. We can't turn back, but how can we go on?
Here we are on the ship, and we immediately have some issues. There are 10 weeks to get to Mars, and if you have one person survive, then you can win the game. So think of FTL with some Darkest Dungeon, with some roguelike business, all mixed up in there, and that's essentially what this game is. In the top left, you can see my hull is going to take 3 damage. I only have 3 pips on the hull, so I have to solve these issues on the ship. We have our mechanic, we have our captain, our doctor, and our pilot, all of which have their own skills, and their health, and their stress, and a lot of moving parts here. So let's just hop in here with our pilot, who has 1 dice, into this ending part of the ship, the tail of the ship here. I need to get a 4, right? You can see there, repair is going to be 4. But 4 will also injure me. If I get a 3 or a 2, also bad. I have 1 assist, you can see in the upper right-hand corner. Let's roll the dice and see... We got a 1. Now I have 1 roll remaining, so some folks have more rolls and some have less. And man, we need... Alright, I'll get the assist, right? I won't get injured, and thankfully I can solve this thing. The event is complete, and it will no longer destroy the ship on the first freaking turn of the game. So, a lot of pieces at play here, a lot of variables to contend with, and it's all about mitigating the amount of risk, the amount of damage you're going to take on, hopefully. So now we have, mechanic has 3 dice, captain has 4, doctor has 2. And I will also note that you want to play characters in a certain order because they all have their different perks. Whereas the captain can regain more dice depending on what you do. And if you have everybody in the same module of the ship, they all regain those dice. So I will show you here our ship info. We got flight control, greenhouse, life support, operations, medical bay maintenance, and laboratory. And each of those has their own option to help regain something in some way. Whether it be movement damage, harvesting food, very important, regaining dice, health recovery, hull repair, you know, things you need to keep this shit going for 10 weeks onto our trip onto Mars. So I think we keep our mechanic here with a 23 for the meteoroid strikes. And we'll deploy him with his 3 dice. We have a 2 and a 3 will be stasis. And stasis means you can't re-roll the dice. So we also have research. There's a lot of options in here, right? So let's hop in here and just roll the dice and explain it as I go along here. Oh my god, that was the worst possible outcome I could have gotten. 3 2s. I can't do his 5 for hull repair. I can't do 5 for movement damage. I can put them into research here. You can see in the bottom I can get some dice for research that will help me overall. But that was the worst possible roll. So I've only got 6 here to kind of put into repairs, which I'm going to use. But honestly, this game's about mitigating what you can and dealing with the rest of it. And right now, it's going to be a lot of the rest of it. So you can ignore it though, right? You can say, you know what? This is not going to kill the ship. What's more important, perhaps, is getting some food on this ship or some health on this ship. So we're going to have our doctor here and head over into greenhouse. And we'll roll here and hopefully be able to get enough. A 2 and a 2. will get us an extra thing of food. It has to be all the same number in the harvest food thing. If you get 3, you can get more than that. But that's good enough, man. I will take that any dang day of the week. Now, what you've done here in terms of getting those numbers lowered, like over here, if I don't get through this 17 in this roll, A, I'll take that damage, but B, I will have certainly decreased it by as much as I can, and that will stay. It's not going to reset on the next turn. So let's roll and hope for the best. Even the best laid plans, yes. That is 18. Yes. So, we're going to do boom, 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 boom. Not the worst first turn in the world. We got some food, and we solved all of the events, and now the next week, the damage phase.
Moods are turning sour. The crew's and my own. But if I can't lead them, we're all dead. I need to get it together.
In between each week, you get a choice, a side project. You get either A or B. And they both have benefits, and they both have things to knock you down. So this one right here is +1 dice, everybody, but the hull goes down too. And we only have 3 pips on the hull. That's bad. This one, we get more hull. Awesome. The ship won't explode, but we all lose a dice. Now, I did get 2 food in the food storage, so I'm going to take this one here and then dole out the food to the pilot and to the doctor. And then play it fast and loose because we can't turn into cannibals just yet. Don't worry, though. That's going to happen. So 18 and 13 might be manageable, but also one of those is a void dice, and that's going to be a problem if we get void. With 9 weeks left to get to Mars. And you can see in the top there what other events are going to be happening down the line and what could be even worse. So 3 events in the next week, that's a problem. That's a serious problem. So I think we're going to take our pilot, who has plenty of dice, and you can see in this first option here, the red thing, that means hull damage. The -1 food is not hull damage, that's -1 food. So there are ones that if you have enough, if you had a full stock of food, you could ignore that and hope for the best. If you couldn't get to it, didn't have enough dice to get to it, that is certainly an option. So I'm going to take Yori here, our pilot, who thankfully ignores any kind of movement damage. If I took the captain and moved her here, I'm going to lose 1 health. But the skill here of the pilot is I will ignore all of that damage, which is awesome because she has 4 dice, or he has 4 dice. I'm not sure if that's a guy's name or a girl's name. Either way, we have 4 dice, and there are 18 here. If I can avoid a 4 and a 2 on this roll, then I should be good. So let's roll a dice, and again, it's a literal roll of the dice. So the assist got us there on the stasis. Fantastic. And we have 17 out of 18. So we're going to use 2 of these 6s. And then we're going to roll the dice 1 more time and hope for the best. You can put dice in the hold. The void dice. Man, you don't want to risk the void dice if you can help it, because that will screw you every time with a dice into the void. So I'm going to take this 3 and put it down here in research. If you have dice in the hold and you finish the turn, those dice go away. They don't just stay in the hold. So you got to use them some way, somehow, either, on the repair, on the power, on the research, on the perk. One of those things has to have dice on it. So we have 6 more in there. We have 13 in these dead plants. Who is going to be the one to do that? I think the doctor should take care of these plants. And then I will use the captain last to get everybody a dice back. Fingers crossed. So we'll take the doctor here, who's already here in greenhouse. And we will hopefully get some good rolls here with the dice that she has, which is plenty. So give me lucky 13. Stasis. So I have 12. I'm going to use this 4. I have to. I'm going to put this 2. And I'm going to roll again. I need 7. A 6 and a 3 is, alright, look. It solves the problem. I don't get to get any more food from that, but it solves the problem. And I will take it in a heartbeat. So that event is complete, but we still have this 6 here in the flight control, which is important. So we will have the captain go last. So the mechanic here, hopefully, A, solves the problem, and B, can get 1 point on the hull, because the hull's what you want, man. If the hull's gone or the crew's gone, you're done, son. And I got a stasis, which sucks. I need a 4, or I need a 5 or 6. Oh my god, I got a 5. How awesome is that? Event complete, no more impending damage, and we have the captain here, who can now deploy. There's nothing to fix, which means there's no stasis, no injury, no void, none of that. I can hit roll. I got 3 dice, and we got a 6. And the 6 means +1 die to everybody in this module, so me and the mechanic, awesome. And then the rest goes into research. What is even here in research? That's also randomized, roguelike style. We got repair on 1 module. We got suppression on movement damage, and we have preventing stasis for that turn, for, that section of the game. So, honestly, we're going to leave it there in that, and we'll see what happens in the next turn.
I let my fear get the better of me, but the others have proven me wrong. I'm proud of how the crew has come together. I think we might actually have a chance.
Probably not. Probably not. So here we go. +2 assist, which is up in the top there, and +20 stress. And the stress is the little green bar next to, on the left hand of your name, is the stress. If stress hits 100%, you start going a little crazy and making bad decisions. So you don't want stress being maxed out. Otherwise, we got +1 food and -1 health. Now you'll notice this only affects either side of these 2 pieces of crew. So not the whole crew. And if this side, who has 5 health and 4 health, can lose a pip to gain a food, gonna do that. Gonna do that. So, I have not had to go to cannibalism just yet. It's gonna happen, though. Alright, so now we have 3 events. 8 weeks to Mars. And that is 4 hull damage. So, not my health, or stress, or any of that. It is just hull damage. So, let's try to mitigate that, hopefully, here. We'll keep on using our pilot to kind of get out of where I am here and into where the large fire is. And 3 different injury dice. But only a 5 and a 6. So thankfully not 3 different numbers. But still, I've got 4 pips of health and I don't want him to die. He could end up being very close to dying. Now I'm going to use this duct tape here to knock this down 3. Right? 16 is better. I only have 4 dice. Not the maximum amount of dice, and I might get injured here. Like, A, I want high numbers, right? Boom. Assist help me out. Boom. Love it. I want high numbers, but also I don't want to get the injuries. So, mitigate, risk reward, and give me enough to get a 6. We got a 5. Yeah, injury takes 1 health point down, but that is enough to solve this problem. I love it. It's so good. I'm digging it. So that ends up his thing, or her thing. We got a wire short for 10 and a comm box for 10. So I think the doctor can stay where she's at. I want to... Can I move the mechanic? Nope. Alright, so mechanic will stay here with 10. He will hopefully solve this problem. And then we'll get more food with any luck here in the game. So, gonna roll these dice. So, 6 is injury, and I get injured here, and stasis. So, that sucks, right? So, we're gonna do 6. I've got this 2 and this 1. I've got 2 dice here that are still good, right? And I'm gonna put 1 towards the hull, because I always put 1 towards the hull whenever I can. Put 2 in there, and honestly, we'll put another roll here. And thankfully not another injury. So we'll take the 5 into research and the 4 into repair. Event complete. Doing pretty good. And end his turn. And he needs health, but it's kind of is what it is. So now we got the captain and the doctor. So I'm going to move the captain into here, and then the doctor goes last to hopefully get some health back, and that whole a bit of business. With 10 and just stasis, so that's not that bad. I've seen way worse. I've seen way worse. So we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So solve this problem with 10. Roll again and hope for a good number. No, but that goes into research. So is what it is. Can't get food from that. Although we could have gotten some food if I had thought harder and put it into the harvest. But you know what? Sometimes things happen and we'll deal with it. So I'm going to deal with it and move on. Again, it's about making the right choices whenever possible, and sometimes the order of those choices is extremely essential. So here we go. Can I get some food back and also some health? I can, you know what? Alright, we're gonna not do health. We're gonna go 3 with the food, because food is super important. Because food means dice, and dice are super important.
I've checked our food stores, and it looks grim. We lost more than half our supplies.
Bro, I
with
just
the
made
module.
some.
If we don't find some creative solutions, we'll starve before we ever reach Mars.
Creative solutions is cannibalism.
20 minutes later.
Dead. She died. The captain has gone down with the ship. Oh boy. Well, we've now lost one. Alright, and all we have now is our pilot, and so we're gonna lose. We don't have any food to lose, so that is what it is. But, you know, the injuries, man. Boom! 3 health like that. Like, do you even want to hit the... If I re-roll here and get 3 more of those, I'm in big trouble. So, big trouble. Boom! 1 health left, but I managed to complete it and didn't get the whole damage. That's at least something, but again, it's just gonna keep going. It's just gonna get worse. And the stress is just gonna go up.
Those people, are they us? What's happening to them? Are we seeing ourselves? But that's insane. What's happening to us?
Eventually.
Okay, +1 food, -2 health, or +2 health, +20 stress for all of the crew. I'll take the stress, man. And I'm not going to eat anybody else if I can't help it. Alright, 1. At least 1 person in flight control for a success. But here's the problem. I'm going to get 4 hull damage. I only have 2 pieces of hull left. So there's no way to beat this. I'm at an impasse. There is no way to beat this because I'm not going to make it through. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Watch. Oh, here. -1 health. 3 void dice. It's not going to matter here. Like, void. No decision you make here is going to be enough to mitigate the problems. Void. I don't have anything to do with my research, and so yeah, it's gone, man. We're absolutely boned. So, I can make it in here to the flight thing, it's not going to matter. Not going to matter. As our ship is bound to be exploded here. Void dice! Yep. Couldn't even mitigate those 2. Here we go, end of the game! Impending damage of 4. So, that's it, man. There goes the ship. I tried my best for a good 40 minutes, and the ship explodes. That was 1 week to Mars! I was so close! I was so close, but it all goes away. Now, this game does have music. Unfortunately, YouTube does not like it. So, there we are. A top 10 score. I've only played it on this difficulty once, so obviously it's going to be a top 10 score for me. But at the very end here of a long video, my apologies, there are my scores on easy and on normal. We do have our stats. I had not played for 6 hours. I will warn you, if you have the game open and the Switch is in sleep mode, it will still count your time in sleep mode. Don't do that. Seriously. But I've won once on easy. And also, your missions here. So, these missions are, hey, 5 weeks, and then very particular, bits of business for 10 missions here. to survive. But kind of the main game is the roguelite mode. That's Tharsis, out now on Switch, $12. I'm attackslug. Thanks for watching. More videos right here. See you next time. And I'm out.